And the other thing that has made me crazy for 3 years is these indirect costs, this corporate overhead. And I stumbled across it in the middle of the phase 1 case because there was an exhibit there that showed their indirect costs for the peaking plant that they didn't need, the $63 million peaking plant that runs 2 days a year, was almost $900,000, and the direct cost for $585,000. And I said to them, what's this about? Well, we're allocating indirect costs on the basis of the value of the asset, the undepreciated value. I said, what about allocating the indirect costs on the basis of the revenue generation 2 days a year? Well, that's not going to work for them. My guess, if I take that peaking plan of 63 million, where they're soaking Pueblo with another almost $1 million a year of indirect costs, you multiply that out, I will bet you that Pueblo is paying close to $6 or $7 million a year in indirect costs that go straight up to the corporate office. Pay for the lobbyists, pay for the fireworks, pay for the foundation. You know, and that's the other thing. I read the article in the Chieftain talking about all these great gifts that Black Hills gives: property tax, sales tax, 3% franchise fee. All of those are pass-throughs that ratepayers pay. Black Hills doesn't give you anything. Now, they throw out a few dollars from the foundation, but I will bet you, if you track where the money comes from the foundation, you're paying for a lot of that through these indirect costs that get allocated. I mean, these guys don't leave any money on the table. As my grandmother would say, they're the kind that would take the pennies off of Christ's eyes after he was crucified.
Wow. Well, and then there's the campaign. And of course, we don't know where the first 750,000 came from for Pueblo Cares, but it's widely speculated that the company might have had some involvement in that. And that gets folded into indirect costs at some level.
Of course. Oh, hey, and there's one other stunt I forgot to tell you. This happened just as I was going off the commission. They file an application. They want to give a credit to ratepayers. Okay. And it's as a result of the Tax Cut and Jobs Act. And it was going to be modest for residential, I think $20, $25 a person. And for some of the corporate industrial customers, it was going to be in thousands of dollars. So before I left the commission, I was able to persuade the other two commissioners that they should not grant that just yet, because we needed an explanation as to why they sat on that refund for a year. They were supposed to make that refund a year ago. Now, do you think there's anything surprising that they came to the commission in March so that it could get approved in April, right before the election? And I said when I was on the bench, there's an election going on. I am not going to put my finger on the scale to help Black Hills fight down the municipalization effort. And I would like, even though I'm not going to be here, and the other commissioners agreed, an explanation as to why they didn't make that refund earlier. And by the way, the Tax Cut and Jobs Act did result in some savings, and the commission ordered them to come up with a plan for how ratepayers were going to get it. They didn't volunteer to do that, but they were sure going to take credit of it 15 days before the election.